Blizzard actually want to know, should they do Kata or should they do Classic Plus or should they do Kata Plus? In a way that I've never seen them survey a product before.
Yeah.
This is very much they haven't a clue what they want. So they're trying to get tons and tons of quantitative data on exactly why Cataclysm was, as Ian put it, I'm what's the term? I'm going to not miss a tribute.
At the end of an era, or, you know,
yeah, he said
point.
Yeah, I'm going to paraphrase. That's the term I'm looking for. I'm going to paraphrase, but he said, you know, it's the end of World of Warcraft as we know it. It's the end of an era. You know, it was the end of that era. It was that kind of things are changing. So that's the they know that, and they're going to find out exactly why through data. And obviously, every time they survey, it works out really well. Because remember they surveyed about Overwatch skin prices.
I feel like I know why with Cataclysm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Everyone knows why.
So the thing about Cataclysm, and I'm dipping into knowledge that's been crusty in my brain from years ago whenever I did a Cataclysm content video. Way back in the day when it was just me and Connell working the channel. So that, actually, you know what, I'd almost love to like go back to some of our like greatest hits and kind of update them, because we can do so many more cooler things and shit now. But yeah, so from what I understand, right, the dev team, they had almost like a traffic light color code system for how big of a revamp a zone would be. And let's just say the number of zones that they decided to go ham on just increased and increased. I feel like they probably felt like, okay, we've polished this zone up. Now everything else looks shit. So they ended up doing, you know, more work than they thought they would have needed to on the world revamp. And you got to remember, at this stage, God, the WoW team would have been sub 300 people. It may even have been sub 200. I'm not particularly sure. But this is when the team was definitely, you know, it was smaller. But, I mean, it was smaller, but also, it wasn't as hard to make things for the game in a way. Like, if you look at the quality of the assets they have to make and the animations, right, it's all so much more involved now than it was back then. But anyway, that stuff ended up being, you know, more than they bargained for. And that is a shockingly common thing with every aspect of game development for absolutely everyone. I mean, Pale Beyond started off as a quick little 20 grand budget, 3 months long development process micro game.
Yep.
Whoops, that took 2 years and somewhat escalated. So, I mean, they didn't mismanage it as bad as we did, but that's the word from Blizz anyway, right? So they kind of like bit off more that they could chew. And if you think of like, man, it was a gargantuan task. And then they had to make all of the endgame storylines. And I feel like they didn't really get to do as much as they kind of wanted, and they had more ambitious plans. Then, of course, Abyssal Maw, like that whole storyline that went nowhere. So we weren't supposed to just have Firelands, because you know, we might remember Firelands, smaller than average raid. So, like, Firelands, they, you know, there was supposed to be another raid coming out either before that or with that in the Abyssal Maw. And I think the Abyssal Maw raid would have been a smaller one, but, you know, that whole, like, Naptalon storyline, like, it would have covered that.
Oh, yeah, that went absolutely nowhere.
Yeah, yeah, and I think then the other one, there's two aspects of this, and it actually ties into, funny enough, of all things, Heart of the Swarm, the StarCraft 2 expansion. But then I remember something to the tune of doing the War of the Ancients and all of that. I remember hearing, I don't know how true this one is, and I should really go back to my old notes, which are on Evernote, I think, from years ago, but it was something to the effect of, like, the War of the Ancients was a really big thing. Right, so War of the Ancients was a super big thing to do for that dungeon. I think they originally had actually planned more content there, but I think stuff ended up going south, so they, you know, just ended up kind of like kit bashing a raid together, and that's what Dragon Soul is. It's kind of hard to say, but it is weird because, you know, that patch didn't come out with a massive amount of world content or anything like that. It was kind of like just, hey, 3 dungeons, raid, LFR mode. So I think all those things, and then the story kind of resonated with people less and less and less. Like, I know there was a few bits of head-scratching with some of the Wrath storyline. You know, the whole, like, there must always be a Lich King. Like, at the time, people were like, wait, what, really? Must there be? But he was the first one. I'm confused. Well, no, he was the second one, but anyway. And I think the way that it goes with the story stuff, it's like this period of Metzin's life that kind of like bled through into, you know, into work. So like a lot of the Jim Kerrigan stuff in Heart of the Swarm is, I guess, like in a way, kind of like letting go of things and like his personal life, and he's talked openly, about this. And often the creative process does come from what people really experience too, and I guess that's why, even with the StarCraft stuff, it's like it's kind of like cheesy, but you can definitely feel there's heart to it. And yeah, I think some of that kind of like rubbed off a bit on Thrall. And, obviously just some of those aspects of the story and the lore didn't resonate with people. The whole, the age of mortals is over. The spell effect on our eyes is going down to zero opacity.
Now they're going to come back and completely revamp and destroy all of that lore in Dragonflight. So maybe it's a good time for Cata to not happen. Go full circle.
Yeah, I do think that it's better with the dragons existing as characters. So the idea that we can kind of, get them their stuff back in this expansion, I'm happy with.
Yeah, that's one thing. I'll talk about a little bit of this later. I've been gearing up to like review Dragonflight as like a campaign in its entirety.
Well, this bit's going to be fucking shocking to those of you listening.
Yeah, genuinely, I've been shocked. You'll be shocked, but certainly one of the issues I've had is that feel where it's like the dragons and whatever's happening to them and how that's like kind of happening. I don't want to spoil anything basically at the minute because they haven't really entered the segment yet. Well, it's like there's certainly parts I'm like, why? What are you doing here? What's the point of this? Maybe there'll be a point, but it's certainly Dragonflight's interesting so far. I'll say that much and get back to it later.
Yes, the bit I said would be shocking is it is less doomer than I thought. I have
substantially more good things to say than bad, which is not that I'm setting out to say bad things or have bad opinions, but it's more I'm like, okay, well, there's a genuinely surprising amount of really positive changes and really positive things. I'm going, oh hey, that was really good. Oh, that was good. Oh, that was good. Hang on, where's the parts where you're missing loads of context and skipping through things? That's not there. Sweet.
I think it might be that the strength they showed off with some of the Zereth Mortis side quests are kind of coming through, but they're now coming through in a setting that's maybe a bit more close to what we would like from the game.
Absolutely.